ladies and gentlemen, that has discussed the Xbox One. Phil Harrison from, of course, Team Microsoft has said that, and I quote, "For every feature in a launch game, we've got 5 more in the queue." So recently, while a lot of people, of course, have been busy discussing the graphics of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, pretty much to add infinity, Microsoft have indeed signed 32 developers for the ID at Xbox, and they're trying to push forward into the indie development space, which is good, in my personal opinion. And they were speaking to OXM, and he said that, and I quote, "When you've been around for a long time, you know that what the platforms are like, the games you celebrate and are proud of in the first year. When you look back at them from the perspective of 10 years ago from now, you'd be amazed at the difference. It's a combination of the tools getting better, developers beginning to understand unique architecture to work with." Also, they added, and you're going to love this one because it's from the cloud, "Crucially, this time around, where's the power of the cloud and what that means for game design that can grow and scale indefinitely. Of course, there is a practical limit, but in effect, you're uncapped. I think from a player's perspective, the most exciting part, and that's not just saying for the chips in the box under the television or wherever you position your consoles of choice, it's about what the platform provide over time. We've not had that in a console generation before. There are ideas and visions of what games can be available, a time to build them into launch games. So far, every feature you've seen in launch games, Smart Glass, Game DVR, use of voice with Kinect, there are 5 features in the queue waiting to come out, either in an update or a sequel, or in future versions of the game. The kind of creative and technical innovations that we're seeing in the industry, it's a really good time," end quote. Now, my personal opinion on this, and let's first of all start with the indie developers. Great that more independent developers are starting to become integral to the Xbox experience. It's just going to serve to give the indie developers more money, which of course means that they can develop bigger and better games for all platforms, which is a good thing. Secondly, it means that it's going to broaden the range of titles on the Xbox, which that's never a bad thing. But regarding the cloud, I think we've spoken quite heavily about its issues before. Obviously, in certain games with cloud rendering, it doesn't really work too well. On the other hand, on other games, it can work extremely well. For example, MMOs, I can imagine the very persistent worlds, which could be huge. And indeed, of course, even things such as dedicated servers. Now, I'd like to add that a lot of this stuff is not new, right? Dedicated servers equals not new, right? We've had persistent game worlds on, for example, World of Warcraft since, I don't know, like, well, it's not even World of Warcraft, you know, even Ultima Online, right, technically has persistent game worlds. The difference is it's becoming a hell of a lot more scalable and a lot more affordable due to cloud-based technologies. Rendering, of course, is fairly new for the cloud, but that's gonna come over time, I feel. Now, let's discuss about the technologies. I've heard a couple of smart remarks on comments and forums that I've been kind of looking at, and people have been criticizing that some of the features, such as, say, television, particularly in the UK, aren't available yet. So, yeah, you know, some of the applications aren't available. Some of the parts of the console maybe aren't working quite as well as possible, or as well as they should anyway. But I think that's kind of the nature of it. Microsoft did bite off quite a bit with the Xbox One in terms of how much it can actually handle and how much it can actually do. That's the issue when you're trying to do more than just provide games. But as for the games itself, to be fair, Microsoft launch, in my personal opinion anyway, I feel the launch games are a little stronger than the PlayStation 4. The PS4's launch lineup wasn't bad, you know, is pretty decent, but I did think the 4s wasn't quite up to scratch with the Xbox Ones. I thought the Xbox One, you know, looking at it, it had, for me at least, Rise, which looked kind of shiny, Dead Rising, which looked quite nice indeed. I'll be honest, I am quite a fighting game fan, so I was quite interested to see Killer Instinct. Regardless, I couldn't get the console, but I am going to be getting one early next year. So, yeah, we understand that, of course, new features and so on are going to come out. Microsoft have been heavily criticized with microtransactions, but then, honestly, people are also criticizing Sony for the same thing with GT6. So in that respect, I suppose it swings and roundabouts. Regardless, I do feel that functions such as Kinect can definitely improve, particularly, as I said, with things such as horror games. That's not to say, of course, that the PlayStation 4 can't do similar with some aspects of this, but I feel it's fairly obvious that he's pointing out that we're going to be seeing much better features and much better graphics and so on as the console matures and evolves. Regardless, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.